What happens when your memories stop feeling personal? When the things that used to mean home start showing up in ads, merch drops, and reboots. Nostalgia isn't sacred anymore. It's strategic. It's been turned into a product line. But that's not what nostalgia feels like. It's a private frequency, distorted by time, tuned by memory. We hum along to the same tune, but we're not hearing the same song. Because nostalgia doesn't belong to culture. It belongs to us as individuals. It's not a vibe, it's a memory hitting reset. And when it boots up, it doesn't care who's watching. It's loading you. I love nostalgia, of course. Not because the past was better, but because it was mine. It's how I reconnect with the version of myself that still believed things could be simple. Not perfect, just possible. And this isn't a new thought. It's something I've carried for years. An endless state. I'm not here to fix it. I just want to talk about it. Because if you felt that shift, if you've noticed that your memories don't hit the same when they're sold back to you, maybe you're not alone. Maybe it's worth asking what nostalgia really is and what it still could be. Nostalgia was never meant to scale. It's intimate by design, a one-to-one connection between memory and meaning. But somewhere along the way, it got optimized, turned into a product line. And now, the most personal emotion we have is being mass-produced. Corporations and creators treat it like something that can be replicated, like it's a formula, not a feeling. You can sell a memory trigger, a smell, a sound, a jingle, but you can't sell the connection it makes in someone's mind. You can run theories and marketing studies to develop mass patterns in behavior, but there's no true manual to that connection when it's written by a life lived only once, under circumstances no brand will ever have access to. That's what makes nostalgia powerful. It's chemistry, not commerce. It's the synapse firing between a moment you lived and the version of you that survived it. It's your save file, your checkpoint, your emotional respawn. And it's genius, really. The easiest product to sell is the one you already loved. It's not evil, it's efficient. But efficiency and emotion were never meant to share a bed. Because when you optimize for profit, you flatten the nuance. You turn someone's personal memory into a marketing asset. And suddenly, what used to feel sacred starts to feel scripted. That's the danger. Not that nostalgia is being used, but what it's being used without understanding, without reverence, without the quiet respect it deserves. I don't mind that nostalgia is popular. I mind that it's impersonated. That someone can wear my childhood like a costume, pixelated, ironic, and just detached enough to sell. Because when I see that same pixel art in a commercial, it doesn't feel like a tribute. It feels like a reenactment, staged, rehearsed, and hollow. Nostalgia isn't just about what something looked like. It's about how it felt to be there. To be that kid in that room with that controller. And when someone mimics the aesthetic without the ache, it's like watching a stranger lip sync your favorite memory. That's why nostalgia can't be recreated. It's not just a style, it's a scar. You can share nostalgia, but you can't simulate it. Because the moment you try to recreate someone else's memory, you're not honoring it, you're overriding it. And I'm not here to shame anyone for owning a Mario figurine. But there's a difference between holding on to something that meant the world to you and being nudged into a performative nostalgia. Not because you feel it, but because it plays well. That's what gets me. Because merch isn't just merch anymore, it's a marketing funnel, a soft entry point into microtransactions, brand loyalty, and emotional usury. And when nostalgia becomes strategy, it stops feeling like yours. Nostalgia isn't what you remember, it's how you used to do things, the tricks, the timing, the tiny superstitions. And those rituals weren't just functional, they were emotional. They were how we made the system ours. For me, that ritual had a name, Videocolor Yamin. It was a small media store in Caracas, Venezuela, tucked inside one of the most iconic malls in the city, El CCT. They had VHS and Betamax rentals downstairs, but if you knew your stuff, you went upstairs. That's where games lived. They let you rent cartridges for 2 days, and every time we passed by, I'd pray my mom would say yes. Sometimes she did, not often enough, but when she did, I had maybe 5-10 minutes to choose a game, or at least until my mom and brother decided to rent Terminator and Home Alone for the 10th time. There was no internet, no trailers, just cover art. And when I finally brought the game home, I had 2 days to absolutely destroy it, or let it destroy me, and never go back. We had games we owned, of course. Those are the ones that stuck, the ones that still live in a special place in my mind. That wasn't just gaming, that was memory, wrapped in plastic and hope. Nostalgia still belongs to us, if we remember what it actually is. It's not a portal to the past, it's a signal, proof that we've been somewhere worth missing. Maybe that's the part no remake can replicate, the quiet, unmarketable moment when a memory finds you again. And for a second, you feel home. Sure, we all blew on cartridges. We all looked away when turning on the PlayStation, pretending not to care, but secretly dying for it to boot up. These are core memories we can share as a click, but each person has their own story, their own details, their own rituals. In my case, I created a trick for the Nintendo cartridge to boot up more reliably. I'd insert it only to 99%. That extra 1%, when I pushed it down, it would hit the case, but forcing it down, it would lock the cartridge in a better way. In my mind, that was a proven technique backed by Nintendo scientists, because I am so the man. There was a friend of mine, a little older, whose PlayStation only worked if he turned it upside down. Like, what? Much later I found out loads of people did this, but to me, he was the only one in the world who would do that. That's the beauty of it. Even in a world of mass market memory, the weird, personal rituals still survive. And when you remember your own quirks, you reclaim nostalgia. You make it yours again. The past isn't supposed to be a product. It's supposed to be a memory. And memories aren't meant to be remastered. Nostalgia isn't medicine. It won't fix you. It won't restore what was lost. But it will remind you that something mattered, that something shaped you, that something is still unresolved. That's why it hurts. Not because the past was perfect, but because it was yours. And when you revisit it, you're not just remembering. You're checking in on a version of yourself you left behind. I haven't played Sonic Adventure 1 in decades, but I still remember the beach zone. Not just the layout or the music, but the feeling it gave me. There was something about that stage, the way it opened up with that bright, impossible sky, the water crashing in the background, the way Sonic moved, fast but smooth, like you were skating on sunlight. It was beautiful, and it was mine. And it only existed because of the Dreamcast. That console marked a moment, not just in gaming, but in how games could feel. It was bold, strange, ahead of its time, and somehow it made space for a game like this to exist. I didn't know it at the time, but that level taught me something about how I like to play. Sometimes I try to beat my best time, cutting corners, chaining jumps, shaving seconds off every run. Other times, I just let go. No pressure, no goals, just movement. Just the joy of being in that space. And even now, I go back to it. Not with a controller, just in my head. I can still feel the rhythm of it. The way the stage let me decide what kind of player I wanted to be that day. Maybe it's just muscle memory, or maybe it's something deeper. Maybe it's nostalgia doing what it does best, not dragging me backward, but giving me a place to land when I need to feel like myself again. Not the grown-up version, not the one with deadlines and edits and bills. Just a kid who believed that a game could be a whole world, and that running through it, fast or slow, was enough. Sometimes nostalgia is healing. Sometimes it's escapism. Sometimes it's both, but it's never neutral. It always means something. And that's maybe the point. Nostalgia isn't a cure, it's a clue, a breadcrumb trail back to the parts of you that still need attention. If this brought back something real, a moment, a feeling, a version of you, hold on to it. Maybe share it. I would love to know about it. And if you want to keep exploring how games shape who we are, you know what to do. So yes, this is a cool story, but it's also a critique, a reflection, a reclamation, because nostalgia isn't just about remembering, it's about defending the emotional architecture of memory against its commercial impersonation. You're not just reminiscing, you're resisting. You're choosing to honor the quiet, unrepeatable moments that shaped who you were and who you still are. And maybe that's the real value, not the memory itself, but the act of remembering with intention. Because when you do that, you're not just looking back, you're building a bridge between who you were and who you're still becoming. So if something from your past still boots up inside you, a sound, a scream, a feeling, you already know what it means. You've carried it this far. You've felt its weight, its warmth, its weird timing. You don't need me to define it. You just need space to honor it. It's not just nostalgia. It's a signal, and it still belongs to you. Thank you for listening. I'll see you on the next one.